Here's the thing. For everybody listening, don't make the same mistake the Bengals just did in any facet of your life.
People are going to get hurt. It's the hockey season. And if they want to make the deep run to the playoffs, they're going to need players. And Ben Hutton's a good defenseman that can help.
I don't think they will. If they don't have Anthony Davis, I'm saying it right now, if Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
I was very tempted to just put defense.
What about the Jared Cook play on the sideline? And then Mason Crosby's 55-yard field goal or something like that. That was a good one.
Come on, Austin and I have been saying this ever since Joe Burrow got injured.
I just do not see Harden putting in the same amount of effort into each game. Yeah, I honestly believe that's why he hasn't won a championship yet.
That's a perfect name. What you said, name brand players. Like, it's not the great value Target brand toilet paper or whatever. It's the Charmin Ultra Strong.
I swear we didn't script that.
Fultz is injured and he really hasn't lived up to the potential of being the number one overall pick when he was selected by the Sixers.
Like you said, Ovechkin, he's getting older. He hasn't been playing as well as I imagined. He's one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, but he hasn't started off this season as hot as I would hope.
How is Joe Burrow going to get the ball to them if his butt is already on the ground when he finally decides who to throw to?
I don't really think the Dodgers are going to make the World Series this year. I feel like they'll make it to the NLCS.
And then I want to talk about the Fernando Tatis extension because that really surprised me. Because he's so young. You see the Chiefs beefing up their O-line, and then you have the Buccaneers beefing up their defensive line.
Ingrained in the life of Tom Brady and what winning actually looks like, I think will be a very good move for Bruce Arians and this Bucs organization.
Hi, I'm Jeff Allen, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our USFL Opinions of the Week. Congratulations to the USFL because we're halfway there. We're halfway through the season, and we're going to talk about our thoughts, but nothing really has really affected them, I think. Like with the AAF, there was, I think, a collapse halfway through the season financially because one of the main financial supporters pulled out. And then they just lost all that money. So I don't see anything happening right now with the USFL, something like that. So I think that's good. And I think making it halfway through your first season is a good accomplishment. What do you think?
Yeah, and while obviously the job isn't finished, as Kobe would say, I am happy to see that the USFL is working out nicely. The AAF obviously failed for money reasons. The XFL failed because of COVID. Both of those were unforeseen when they first started, and the USFL is making it through all of the challenges it's had to this point.
Yeah. So we're just gonna go and talk about if the USFL has met our expectations. I'll go first. I'm surprised that I haven't tuned into more games. It's just I have been watching the NBA playoffs and Stanley Cup finals and balancing that with other stuff. So I'm surprised that I really haven't watched all the games. I've just slightly kept up with it, but I don't think it met my expectations because I thought I'd be continuing to watch it, but just other things have kept me away from that. So, but overall, I think there are good games. There are just like a few bad teams who just haven't won. One being my team, the Pittsburgh Maulers, and the other team being the Michigan Panthers. And so it seems normal. It's just I'm surprised with the amount of games that are spread out, which like they have games on Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Or this week they just have Saturday and Sunday. But what about your expectations, Austin?
Yeah, mostly they've been met. I really didn't anticipate this to be a successful one, especially because I think they set it up previously, like before the season started, a lot better than the XFL and AAF did, and that's probably because they saw the failures of those two. They realized, hey, we can't just sleepwalk through this. It's going to take a little bit of effort before the season starts to set us up for the best possible beginning of the season, and they definitely did that. I There's been some parity issues. The bottom two teams are 1-4, but the best team in the league, I believe, is still is it 4-1 or 3-2?
5-0. Birmingham Stallions.
They're 5-0.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought they lost, but no, they haven't. So there's a 5-0,
a 4-1,
a
and then
4-1,
two
3-2,
3-2s.
3-2. Yeah, that South division is hard. But yeah, there's been some parity issues with 3 of the 8 teams being 1-4 or worse. But I've seen some good football, and I like some of the rule changes and how they're experimenting with things that I believe the NFL should experiment with.
Yeah. I also like the camera angles. Like on the tackle, you'll see the camera angle. I think that's a great um addition because I didn't foresee them doing like I knew it was gonna be different, but just a way they can have cameras on every single player. Expense wise, I'm wondering how they do it, but it's also good quality, and I think it's a nice touch to see after the play, like the player's view. So, um, that's one surprising thing. And then before talking about like the preparation, they had a really well organized draft where they could add all the players, and then the Twitter account was great with just keeping up to date, and they have a lot of highlights. So the production has just been wonderful. It doesn't seem rushed like you were talking about. But what about the in-game? Do you like the camera angles that I was talking about?
Yeah, for sure. I think that they're experimenting, and like I said, with rules and with camera angles and with advertising and with how you build a team and all that stuff. They're experimenting, and that's good because it makes it to where it's not the same game as it is for the NFL. It's something new, it's something different where you can go there and experience something totally different than the NFL, even though it's the same sport. So yeah, I like the camera angles, and even if some of them aren't the greatest, always, I do like that they're trying something new and not just trying to replicate the NFL, which you could never do as an expansion organization.
Yeah, I agree with that. So we've kind of talked about some surprises. Do you have any more to add before talking about any changes we would like to see?
No.
Okay. So a change that I would like to see is probably home and away games because this is something I learned late is it's all in Birmingham, Alabama. That's where all the games are being played. Maybe they wanted to save money on travel costs for each team. But after your first year, hopefully you've gained a fan base to where you can have games at each place. Maybe you can find a stadium. So that's something I would like to see. And then I would like to see how they do the draft and like who, like, do you just pick players? Is there a college? I want to see how, because we saw like the initial draft and how they did that, but where how does your draft set up for the fall for the next season? So that's something I would like to see, and maybe a change is maybe it's a lottery, or maybe they don't do it like the NFL, where it's the worst team gets the number one overall pick. Maybe they combine a little bit of the NBA and NHL. What do you think about that?
Yeah, and you stole mine because I really thought that that was going to be my main one is that we should see home and away games that are true home and away. Because I do think that's definitely going to be a topic of contention that the Birmingham Stallions, a team that is 5-0, is only playing home games.
Yeah, I agree, and it seems like we're on the same wavelength there with home and away because that alters a lot of the in-game preparation. We talk about, oh, they get home field advantage in the playoffs. Like if we're talking about the NFL, and like, oh, this team has to travel. Sometimes it helps the team they like to travel, and then it can really just gain, create a strong fan base. They can develop traditions at home. Then you don't have teams coming from Pittsburgh to see the Pittsburgh Maulers in Birmingham. Um, and I think you could do playoff games home and away. Then you can really get into seeding. So that's one main change that we agree on. I talked about like the draft, then free agency. Maybe it's something I'm very interested to see how they do is like the off season because they never really had an off season. So where does free agency start? Is there a free agency? How do trades work? How do draft picks work? I kind of talked about that with the NFL draft. So I'm very interested in. We talked about like the parity issues. Some teams are going to be bad, but there's a wide parity between the teams that are 1-4 and one team that is 5-0. How do you make those teams better naturally so you have like a competitive league? So that's one thing I want to see changed. Um, what else do you think, Austin?
Yeah, I really do think there needs to be a change from the NFL draft. Not from necessarily the NFL side of things, but obviously from the USFL. Just need to probably try something different than all the sports. Maybe every draft pick is lotterized so that all 8 teams could get the number one pick because that could stop tanking from happening. So that one team is not like, oh, we've lost a lot of our games. Let's start tank so we can get the number one pick or at least really good odds because there's only 4 teams. So that would be out of the playoffs. So any one of those teams could get it if they just tank, the number one pick. So I would say try it out. Maybe put everyone. Maybe the champion has no chance, and just everyone else has a chance to get it. All the other 7 teams. I don't really know. However, I would be welcome to any changes to the system, as again, it's just experimentation, and I like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't be opposed to what you were saying. I would probably prefer the champion like has no chance,
Yeah.
but then everyone else does have a chance. So I think that's most of it. Any final thoughts?
Nope.
All right, that is it, and we appreciate you listening. Let us know what you've thought about the USFL as we are halfway through there. Make sure to tweet us at OutsidersPod21 for updates on episodes, and feel free to tweet at us to share your opinions. And we appreciate you listening, and be on the lookout from other episodes from Outsiders Opinions.